Hello and welcome to the United stand. It's Christmas, so I'm wearing a Christmas jumper. What a result against Bristol City last night. Furious about it, which is why I've waited all day to do this video. But I do feel a little bit better now, a little bit festive. At the end of the day, it's Christmas and I'm not letting Matteo Darmian ruin mine. But in all seriousness, I was being serious, but Mourinho, if you listen to his interview after the game yesterday, he really did reveal quite a few things about this Leicester game, which I'm going to talk to you about. And basically does confirm that stars will be dropped. Now, I don't see how we can drop everybody, but you can tell. I mean, personally, I think we see the good and the bad of Mourinho after that loss yesterday. He's a bad loser. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a bad loser, by the way. Sir Alex Ferguson was a terrible loser. I'm a bad loser because I grew up with Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, and role models you are defined by. And Sir Alex was a very bad loser, and Mourinho is as well. The one thing the bad about Mourinho was the lucky comment. He did quantify it a bit by saying, you know, I don't want everyone to say Bristol were lucky, but you did say they were lucky, and I think that they weren't lucky. If they were lucky, then we were lucky against Arsenal. Their goalkeeper is their goalkeeper. He made some big saves, and we didn't score, and they went at the other end and did. Bristol deserved to win the game. But what he also said, and more importantly, as we move ahead to the Leicester game, what he also said is that players who played tonight will not be playing on Saturday. They had a chance, they didn't take it. So who's he talking about there? For me, he's talking about Luke Shaw and Martial as per usual, even though I don't think they're the worst players on the pitch. I don't think he's talking about Rashford, even though I think you could flip a coin on who played well between Rashford and Martial. I think the Blind experiment for those people, and I know there's people on the United stand who've been saying for quite a while that Blind should play as a CDM. I'm glad I was right. I'm glad I was right because I don't see any future in Daley Blind as a centre defensive midfielder, and I've been saying that for 3 years. Van Gaal tried him there when he first signed him. It didn't work, and that was where I based my evidence on, and it's nothing to do with Van Gaal's tactics or Mourinho's tactics. He's not got the mobility, and he's very one-footed, and that's why he can't be a CDM. He can't even do it in the Championships, as he proved last night. Darmian's awful. Best right back in Manchester United. He's not the best right back on his bloody street. He's rubbish. He's absolutely rubbish. Rubbish going forward and rubbish defensive. I mean, I check his passport. He's meant to be an Italian defender. I don't think he's Italian. I really don't. He doesn't have the attributes. So one thing we did put on Twitter, and we're going to talk about with you lot in a little bit, is if you can only have 3. I'm not giving you get 3 wishes on this one. What 3 Manchester United players would you sell in January? We're going to talk about that in a bit, and I'm also going to give you a Twitter feed. But very, very quickly, SNOR Lax has just given us a contribution. He says, "Hey Mark, now we're out of the Cup, what do you think Mourinho will prioritise going forward? We're out of the League Cup, we're out of the Premier League, that's gone. So the priorities have to be the FA Cup and the Champions League. I mean, I'd be ecstatic if we won the Champions League, but the FA Cup would be nice to win. Look, the league, I'm not happy that we got knocked out of the League Cup. As I said last night, if there's one positive about getting knocked out of the League Cup, is that Mourinho can't stand there at the end of the season and go, I've won a trophy. I don't like the League Cup. It's a nothing cup. If we'd not won the Europa League last season would have been a disaster, and we won the League Cup. So that just shows you the value of the League Cup. It doesn't get you into the Champions League. It's just a trophy, but I don't like the League Cup much, to be honest. I think it should be used by the youth and for youth. And to be fair play, at least people Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs do use their youth. Excuse me, and so do Man City. So I'm not happy to be out of it because I thought it was a bottler's performance by the squad again. But in the bigger scheme of things, I don't really want to win. Let's hope we go for the FA Cup now, because it's always difficult to go for the FA Cup. Anyway, I do just want to show you this very, very quickly. This is why Manchester United struggled last night, and this is why Manchester United could struggle for the rest of the season. Now, forget Jones and Rojo and Young and Valencia and pretend it's the formation of last night. So pretend Lingard's Blind. But McTominay, Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Zlatan. Okay, that's how we lined up last night. And Bristol City just played their defensive line there, which meant their midfielders and their attackers were all in this space here, which meant we got absolutely pressed like we did. High line. And it meant that people like Pogba and McTominay to a certain extent, and certainly Rashford and Martial, had very little space because you've got a high defensive line there, midfielders there, and there's just no space. There is just no space for Manchester United to play. And this is what I keep saying about the Zlatan thing. Zlatan should not be playing as a number 9. He should not be playing as a number 9 because he compresses us. He compresses us, and it made it very, very easy for Bristol. Now, what will actually happen on the weekend, or what we should have done first of all, what I would have done against Bristol is put those 2 up there, dropped Blind, because we pretend that's Blind, into the 3-5-2, and against Bristol, that's how I would have played. And straight away, that Bristol defensive line, which was there, suddenly automatically drops to there because they're scared of those two and the pace and what he can do in hitting them balls. And Zlatan as a number 10, well, we've had luxury number 10s for the last 3 years. He can do least damage there, and McTominay can hit those balls as well. And suddenly these players, with those going forward as well, I mean, I know we picked Darmian, but there's suddenly a lot of space for Pogba, McTominay and Zlatan because these two are pushing back. Obviously, we didn't do that. We didn't do that at all, did we? We put those out on the wide. We put Zlatan there, and that defensive line went from there to there and pressed us. And that's very, very simple how it went wrong for Manchester United last night. And people don't want to... I got a bit of stick today because I'm a big Mourinho fan, and I said it's very, very naive and ignorant just to put it on the players. The players weren't good, but those tactics were terrible. If we'd played the 3-5-2, we would have pushed them further back. They'd have been scared of the pace. We totally and utterly played the wrong formation today. And it worries me that we... Because Zlatan's not finished. I think Zlatan was unfit. He needs another month on the training pitch. As I tweeted off my account today, look, Zlatan Ibrahimovic isn't fit. Why is he playing? Just so he, you know, his superhuman powers to get back from a very, very bad injury are very commendable. But if you're going to play like you did last night, take the 2 months more that most people would do and get yourself match fit. He's not match fit. Nowhere near it. He's not finished. I like Zlatan. He's not finished. He's just not match fit. And he should not be playing as a number 9 even when he is fit because he just hasn't got the pace. And as I said last night, Bournemouth and Anderlecht last season, they played high lines against us because they're not scared of the ball over the top. Of course, what happens is when Lukaku comes on, so let me sort this team out for Sam because we are talking about the Palace game. So Lukaku comes on, obviously he won't play, Matic will play, it'll be Pogba, Matic, Lingard I think will play there, Young, Rojo, Jones. How do I think he'll play? I think he'll go like that. He won't play Martial. He won't play Martial at all. Lingard obviously plays. Mata, Rashford off. I think he'll go 4-2-3-1. I don't think Martial will play. But against Leicester, I'll make sure I've got the right numbers. Against Leicester, it doesn't actually matter because what Leicester will do, and those two need to push forward a little bit. Those need to push forward a bit. I would like to see Smalling play. I'd like us to play 3-5-2. I hope we do. But with Leicester, we're going to have Lukaku. They'll play a deeper line. Whereas if it's Zlatan, they'll play here. Lingard, Pogba, Matic. A lot more space for them to get into. And Leicester will want to hit long balls into this area for Vardy. That's what they will do. So against Leicester, we've got Lukaku. We will push them back. We'll have a lot of possession. And I'm going to put a bold statement out here. I do think that we'll actually beat Leicester. I'm finding it hard to pick what our team is because he seems to have moved away from 3-5-2. But I would play 3-5-2 at the weekend. But I don't think he will. I think he'll go to the 4-2-3-1. So that would be Young, Rojo, Jones, Valencia, Matic, Pogba. I think Mata will play on the right. Lingard number 10. Lukaku 9. And I think he'll probably drop Martial. I sense he's going to drop Martial. But Rashford was just as bad, so I don't know. But that I don't know what you lot think. I do think that we will beat Leicester at the weekend, and our Premier League form has been very good. And let's not forget, look, and when it comes to the Bristol City game, a lot of those players weren't first team players. But for me, the reason Pogba was so poor, the reason Martial and Rashford were so poor, is because they had no space, because it was squashed out of them because Zlatan was up front and they pressed and they pressed. Against Leicester, they'll get a lot more space because Lukaku will push it back. And I think what last night did show as well is, and Ross has been saying it, and I've been saying it, and a lot of you have been saying it as well, is look, whatever you think about Lukaku's first touch and his finishing, and we know, and his big game bottler, they're probably true and he is working on those. But I hope everybody saw last night why Lukaku is better than Zlatan for Manchester United. Because he's quick and he pushes defensive lines back. When Zlatan plays, people are not scared of it. They are not scared of it at all. Derian Jones, Zlatan was on a goal bonus last year, so guessing he is again this year. Hence him wanting all the free kicks. I still think Mickey will come good. Mkhitaryan, I mean, Mkhitaryan should be coming on against Bristol City with the amount of space there was when Lukaku came on and winning us that game. He didn't do terrible, but he didn't do enough. But nobody on the pitch did enough, so that would be a little bit unfair. Ibrahimovic says, Jose's mentality is to sit back always. Players are not making efforts to run. Defensive football will make us worse. And I think that's unfair. I mean, I think that's really unfair. I think against Manchester City, we were very, very poor. But most of the time over this season, we haven't sat back. I think the park the bus thing's a myth. If we'd parked the bus for the last 10 minutes yesterday, we wouldn't have been knocked out. I mean, I still don't know how a player ends up in our box in a one-on-one situation in the last minute of a game. So I think we tried to be expansive yesterday, and it just backfired. Their goalkeeper played very well. But I don't like Zlatan on free kicks, but he did score a free kick and it deflected in and the keeper should have done better. But, you know, it's very hard for me, and I don't know how a lot you think, but I said this last season. When we signed Zlatan, I was very excited about it. I like Zlatan. But when he was playing for Manchester United, I hate him as a number 9. He's so slow, and teams really do swamp our midfield because they can play that high line. On top of that, it becomes Zlatan United, taking free kicks that, you know, Pogba's better at free kicks, Daley Blind's better at free kicks, Mata's better at free kicks when he's on the pitch. But then again, Rashford shouldn't be on free kicks either. I don't know why Rashford's on free kicks. He scored one good one and then the rest of them go over the bar. He'd be better playing bloody rugby. But Full-Time Red says, still think Mkhitaryan will be sold. Let me just cover the Leicester game first, and I'll come back to that for Full-Time Reds, because I do want to talk about this 3 players you'd get rid of if you could. I think Manchester United are going to beat Leicester 3-1. Leicester are a very good team, and well, I say very good team. They're a good team. I know they got beat at home last week 3-0 by Palace, so they'll want to bounce back. And Vardy's a pain. Vardy is a pain. Mahrez is improved. They've got people like Dimitri Gray. They're combative, they're hard-working, and I think they'll give us a good game. But I don't think they're set up as a possession footballing side. And with the return of Matic and the return of the real Pogba, that wasn't Pogba last night. The one thing that came into my mind about the game last night was, why is Pogba so good this year and last year he was a bit hit and miss? And straight away, there'll be guaranteed there'll be people shouting it out there. The reason Pogba was so good this season and was so mediocre last year was Zlatan. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but Zlatan doesn't make the runs beyond. He comes into the areas that Pogba wants to go. He was coming deep yesterday. But Pogba, with Lukaku there, Lukaku doesn't come into the areas that Pogba wants to go into, but Lukaku makes the runs into the area that Pogba wants to hit the ball to. When he plays with Zlatan like last night, he loses two big bits of his game. The ability to run with the ball into space, because there isn't any, because Zlatan's occupying it, because he's playing so deep. And the ball over the top, which he's very good at, is redundant because he hasn't got a forward who's going to make it. So Pogba, I would give him a big night off last night and say, you can't judge Pogba on that because he's got Zlatan in the team. And as we saw last year, we saw a mediocre Pogba last year. I think on Saturday night, we'll see the real Pogba back again with Lukaku making the runs, the space there for him to progress into. Matic back, he's very important. We'll dominate that midfield. Who he goes with on the wide is interesting. I suspect Lingard will definitely start. I think Mata will start as well. And then Rashford or Martial, maybe they can go back to the whole sharing the position and actually produce something, because we need them to. But I'm confident we'll beat Leicester. The Bristol game was frustrating, but I'm confident we'll beat Leicester, and I'm going to go 3-1. Bringing it back to the Bristol thing, I think in relation to that, it just highlights that we've got a very, very big squad, but it's not a good enough squad. And for me, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I said that the 3 players that I would get rid of if I could get rid of 3 players in January, and I don't like doing it because it's people's, well, they'll go and earn money elsewhere, will they, to be honest. But for me, it would be Blind, Darmian and Fellaini. But just going through the Twitter before I take some of yours, we've got Mkhitaryan, Blind, Fellaini, and people are just arguing amongst themselves. Darmian from Damien. Darmian, Fellaini, Mkhitaryan, says Nathan Harper. Blind, Shaw, Darmian. Darmian, Blind and Herrera. Darmian, Rashford, Shaw, all shite, says SBC2. I mean, the interesting thing is that there's quite a lot of variety apart from Darmian. I said Darmian before last night's debacle. I said Blind before last night's debacle. I thought Blind made a fantastic saving tackle as a centre-back, but he's not a centre defensive midfielder. I mean, you could keep Blind, but he's a centre-back. He's a left-sided centre-back and maybe a backup left-back. He's not a midfielder. But Darmian offers us nothing, absolutely nothing, and Italian clubs would buy him, so I would definitely send him off there. That reminds me of something. We'll come back to that, but I've just realised that... let me get back there. And there. And there. And there. And there. And there. Okay, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. And I forgot my little Christmas gift to you. What a bloody idiot. Because I'll get on a rant and that's it. We were talking about it on the watch along last night, Fan League. Obviously, a lot of people are off over Christmas, so we've got a little Fan League thing, which we have done before, but they've got in contact with us again. They've said, "Can you promote this for us?" So we've decided we will do, because it's a good one. Link in the video description for Fan League. You get 3 free plays, and basically you also get put into a United Stand League. So, like Super Brew, we can have a little bit of banter with it. How do you play it? Well, once you've gone through the link in the video description, sign yourself up. Simply, they give you 13 fixtures every week, and they are mainly Premier League, but they are mixed with a couple of championships to get it up to 13. And all you do, like Brighton versus Watford, you pick home win, draw, or away win. You don't need to pick the score. So, Brighton, Watford, I don't know, it's tough. Watford are playing so bad, I'd probably go Brighton. Man City, Bournemouth, definitely Man City. Go down all the way there. If you get 10 out of 13, you will win about 20 quid. If you get 11, it's about 100 quid. If you get 12, it's about £1,000. And if you get 13 out of 13, you get £3,000. Free to play. We've got 3 free plays for you. Link in the video description. So that's how you play the game. But the added rub and the good thing, I think, I mean, if you win the money, fantastic. But the thing I really, really like is if you sign up through the link in the video description, you will get an invitation sent to you by ourselves for the United Stand Fan League. And to find that, you just go to, you do your play bit, but then you go to community, you go to leagues, and you check your invitations. And in there, you'll see your invitation from the United Stand League. And as you can see, once you're in the league, Mark Bryan's at the top at the moment, but it doesn't matter when you join. You can join, you could have joined 3 weeks ago, or you can join this week, because your score's average. So if you play this week for the first time and you get 10 out of 13, your score will be 10. If you've been playing for 3 weeks and you've got 10, 9 and 8, your average score will be around 8 point something, won't it? So link in the video description, get yourself signed up. We're going to be talking about this a lot over Christmas, and obviously we've all got time off over Christmas, and you know, a little bit of fun and banter on the United Stand is in order. Get yourself signed up, link in the video description for that. So yes, my little treat to you, and it's free to play as well. Right, let's come back to what we were discussing before, and we've had a contribution as well. Dave Tapgun says, "Hey Mark, I feel we have a team of world beaters, we just don't have the mentality. Players I would get rid of: Blind, Darmian, Fellaini, Romero." I like your optimism, David. I don't think we've got a team of world beaters, but that's just my opinion, and yours is as good as mine. I don't think we've got a team of world beaters at all. I think we've got a team that has 2 or 3 world beaters in it. Pogba, De Gea, and then potentially Martial, but he needs to do a little bit more for me. So yeah, it's I think January the 31st, 2018, which is what, 6 weeks away, is absolutely massive for Manchester United, because in January, if we don't buy anybody and we don't sell anybody, for me, that is shambolic. It's shambolic. We've got to do something with this transfer window. We are going backwards in relation to the team who is top of the league at the moment, and they are going to buy people. They're going to buy people in January. So they are going to improve the squad that is already 11 points clear of us. If we don't do anything in January about bringing players in, but more importantly, it is about bringing players in, but getting rid of players as well. I mean, that result last night is down to the wider squad. I think it's partly down to the tactics, as I discussed, but it's partly down to the squad. It's partly down to the fact that people like Darmian, who are senior professionals earning good money, need to go. Same for Daley Blind. I would get rid of Fellaini, and that's it. That would be my 3. Mkhitaryan, you know, I don't think he's going to go in January, but again, I don't think Mkhitaryan's ever going to be the player we need him to be. I don't think he played terrible last night in his cameo, but there were still bits of it, again, giving the ball away, knocked off the ball. He's never going to be the number 10 we need. And I saw a good comment today. Manchester United's squad and Manchester United's purchases now need to be done with one thing in mind. Would these players we're about to buy get in the Real Madrid squad? And that sounds very ambitious to say it, but Pogba would have got in a Real Madrid squad. Bailly would have got in a Real Madrid squad. Mkhitaryan, I think based on reputation, maybe he would. Zlatan was always worth doing because he's coming towards the end of his career. Lindelof, would he have got in a Real Madrid squad? No. Would Matic have got a Real Madrid squad? Possibly. Would Lukaku? No. And I think that's what we've got to do now, because I think we've got to be... The squad is so full of Deadwood and so full of meh average players that I think we've got players who come in. We can't afford to buy any more meh players. They've got to be that mentality of, would this player get in the top sides in the world? And that's the way we should be. We are Manchester United. We have got the money. We don't need to bargain basement. And in relation to what we are chasing, I think that's the mentality we need to have now. But we need to get rid of some players, because the Bristol game also showed that the wider squad is not up to the task. It's not up to the task at all. So yeah, I think it's very, very important. Hey Mark, have a Christmas beer on me, says Ollie Hayes. Thanks for the contribution, Ollie. And I'll have a little sip of mine now. What I would say as well is I'm, live, breathe football, love Manchester United, but it is Christmas. And if you celebrate Christmas or you are off or whatever, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Football's always going to be there for us, and I love it. It's a massive part of my life as it is a massive part of your life. But as a mate of mine said many years ago, I am not going to let 11 millionaires ruin my Saturday night because they can't be asked to turn up and get a result. And it's very, very true, because fans feel it. We feel it more than the players. And, some players do feel it. You look back at the class of 92, your Roy Keanes, even your people like your Rio Ferdinands, these professionals, they feel it. But we know what the modern game's like. And I don't know. Look, a lot of these players won't be Manchester United fans. They won't be Manchester United fans, and they'll have personal pride, and they'll love playing for United. But we as fans feel it a lot more, and I would echo that. I mean, I feel it. I'm not very happy with what's going on with the club at the moment in relation to how far we are behind City. But you've got to believe in the progress. You've got to believe in the first team. I comfortably think we will win on Saturday night. I don't think we're in a crisis. I think in relation to the Premier League, apart from that Man City result, around that Manchester City result, we've won 6 games. 6 games and lost the Man City game. So 2 wins after, 4 wins before. So our form's very good. Beat Leicester. Then you've got Burnley and Southampton at home. We should be beating both of those. And, we could be in a situation where we've won 9 games and lost 1 against Man City. So, and I think that's the position we will be in. But we've got to use January. We've got to use January. And you know what? If we go into January, we sign 2 players, we sell 3 players, I will say at the end of January, you know what? If that loss to Bristol City prompted that action by the club, it was well worth it, because ultimately the League Cup doesn't mean that much to me. It doesn't. What means a lot to me is losing to Bristol City in the manner we did, with some of the bad performances and tactics we did. The League Cup isn't something that rocks my boat. It didn't rock my boat much last year. It was just nice to win a bit of silverware. But I'd rather win the FA Cup. T. Ballard's made a contribution. Pulisic, 45 million, play him as a central, as a number 10. He can play anywhere. He's ambidextrous when it comes to feet. Do I think we'll beat Sevilla, says Rahuf Mack. Well, that's February. That will be after this January transfer window. That is a very good question. I've not spotted it yet. But it's a very good question. Do I think we'll beat Sevilla? Manchester United should beat Sevilla. But we need to do some business in January. We do need to do some business in January. I've got a video coming up for you at 12 o'clock tomorrow that's going to be very, very good, and I'll probably do it live because I'm off tomorrow. So I'll do it live tomorrow, and it's a bit about transfers, but we will be live at 8 o'clock tomorrow night as well, as per usual. I've got a few shout outs to do. Please do sign up on the Fan League. Link in the video description below. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that over Christmas. So get yourself signed up. Link in the video description. It's free to play. You'll get your invite to play in the United Stand League. All you got to do is pick your home win or away win or draw for 13 fixtures. See how many points you get. And we have got a prize. We are giving a shirt away on New Year's Eve for whoever's top of the league at that point. So get yourself signed up. Link in the video description. Free to play, and also, if you get enough right, you will win money through Fan League anyway. So free to play is the big thing. But do it for the bants. Sign up to the United Stand League and have a bit of fun over Christmas, because we've all got a bit of spare time. Even if you're in work, your boss probably isn't. Get yourself on your phone. Get the class of '92 in coaching. So Speakster, no. I'd love to do a video on why the class of '92 are not right for Manchester United. It's fantasy, not reality. Yeah, play the Fan League. I am also tonight, for those who are interested, at 11 o'clock on my channel. It is Christmas. It does free up a bit of time for me as well. So like you lot, hopefully are going to join the Fan League and play that. It frees up a bit of time for me. I did start off a FIFA career mode FIFA career mode when FIFA came out back in September, and I've let it slip. But I'm back tonight. I'm going to play at 11 o'clock tonight on my channel, the Mark Goldbridge channel. The link is in the video description for that. All you got to do is click it and subscribe and get your notifications on. Then when I go live at 11, you'll get the notification. So that's all you've got to do if you want to join me at 11 o'clock for that. Fan League is also linked in the video description. And finally, that's football. I'm doing the half-8 Premier League preview where I'm talking about Man City and how they're going to annihilate the rest of the league if they don't do something about it. So it's very suitable for United content if you want to watch that. I've got a theory about Man City and what they're going to do and how that will lead to probably 4 or 5 years of domination. So that's on That's Football. I'll be live on that in about 60 seconds. The link in the video description is that for that. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. Please do drop a like on the video. It's nice to get 500 likes while we're live. But I hope you've enjoyed the show. Lots and lots for you to get involved with in the video description. Like I say, I'll be live at 11 o'clock tonight on my channel. Click Mark Goldbridge and subscribe to that. I'm going to be live on That's Football in about a minute, talking about Man City, the Premier League fixtures this weekend, and the plans Man City have got to go to the next level, which is scary. And then Fan League, have a play of that. I'll see you over on That's Football in a bit. Get in that video description. I'll see you in a bit.